Hello, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast with Jeff. This is our series premiere. A couple of new things you can see. I see him in a new area here. Um, if you see me looking to the side, I got a monitor checking to see how close I am and how far I am, because I can't see obviously over there. The camera's way back, as you can see. I'm actually zoomed in, so. The name of this one is called WWE 2. I did a WWE 1 a long time ago, a few weeks ago. I don't know if you've seen it. Most of you probably have. If you're new to my web shows, and you're going to sit and watch me.
No, I was just seeing if you're watching yourself on the
Yeah,
screen.
I do.
And you can see how many times you go like this.
You know. Oh, like this, yeah.
I like this.
Like this. I see.
Alright, I'll leave you alone.
Okay. Okay, I'll explain that. First, sponsorship Mountain Dew, of course. Official soft drink of all my shows. Breakfast with Jeff, Jeff's Journal, all that stuff. I'll explain to you the whole situation with the head and the nose thing. I'll try to explain that to you. Sam, basically, when I was little, when I got my arm hurt, I don't know if you all seen that. I showed you that before. That's not the right arm. The arm, as you see, totally boned. There's nothing there. If you look over here, you got all this fat here. There's no fat on this arm. This arm is ran over by a lawnmower when I was about 5 years old. And in the picture, when I was at the hospital, I had my hand on my forehead. Now, I don't know what the deal was with that. Or I think I was trying to elevate. I think what the deal was, I was trying. They were taking a picture of my arm and stuff. So what they did is they put my arm on my head to pose for the picture. So I think that's where the whole head thing goes. And another thing, when I get nervous or do something crazy, I always rub my nose like this. I don't know why. It's just something I do. As you can see, we have a new studio here. The reason why that is because I have a big, gigantic screen which is a monitor, where it shows me. So if you see me looking to the side once in a while, that's because I'm looking at the monitor to see what's going on. Okay, this is called WWE 2. I'm going to say some things, people. One of the things I was thinking about this afternoon was how wrestling is, entertainment. The WWE always calls it World Wrestling Entertainment, which, if you think about it, how does somebody getting hurt entertainment? I mean, I know there's race car drivers and all these drivers that race, they could get killed, get hurt, but they're not doing it for entertainment. They're not doing it. It's a sport. Football players. It's a sport. So the thing is, and I'm doing it. I'm sorry, my nose. But it's a sport, and the thing is, when Daniel Bryan, everybody knows Daniel Bryan's story, Kane was supposed to do a tombstone on the steps, and when he puts him, between his legs to go ahead and drop the tombstone, his legs just drop down, and that's it. Well, what happened was, he had him too low, and when he went to drop him down, his head and his neck compressed onto the steel steps. And obviously it messed up his neck, so he was so bad off that he was forced to retire, or supposedly. Now all of a sudden, all these neurosurgeons, all these neck people are saying, "Oh yeah, you can go out and you can wrestle." The thing that really I don't understand is, if you watch Total Divas, they say that Daniel Bryan's got vertigo. Now I don't know much about the illness, but usually if you have vertigo, you can't stand, you lay in bed, you don't feel good, you're sick, you collapse because you're dizzy. How in the world is he going to go inside a wrestling ring and if this vertigo kicks in, he'll be laying flat on his back? I mean, you can't just, especially if you get hit in the head. And I don't think they're just going to sit here and slap him on the chest and say, "Here, I'm going to beat you up like this," and slapping you on the chest. you're gonna hit him in the head, and you know, hit him in the head, and if you know anything about vertical, it's gonna come on, and you're gonna get dizzy, and you're gonna collapse. They gotta think about that situation. They can't just sit and say, oh, because your neck is alright, you should be able to wrestle. So, that's as far as that concerned. Now, my favorite wrestler, well, not one of my favorites, of course, is Brock Lesnar, and I think it's because he's confident, cocky, and if he was such this big badass that everybody thinks he is, you know, when he goes to a stadium and they say Suplex City or they say Welcome Home or they chant names, he kind of smiles a little bit and laughs. And the reason why is, you can't deny if you hear 60,000 people chanting your name or saying something or chanting your slogan, you're gonna smile and you're gonna be happy and you're gonna be confident because, every time that they start chanting that, he jumps back and forth and up and down like I'm pumped, I'm ready to go, and everybody hates Roman Reigns, and Roman's trying to be this big good guy, and it just ain't working. It just ain't working for him, and the thing that I don't understand about him is he sits here and he sits here and starts, I know it's a promo, part of the show, he's supposed to get wild up, yelling about, him not being there, and he should be there, and he shouldn't be there, I'm here every day, blah, blah, blah. But the mistake that he made is he says, and I quote, tell you boy that it's not a promo, it's a fight. So what do you expect he's going to do? He's going to come down with the bells on, he's going to come down with little bells and little ringers saying, oh, I'm going to come down and I'm just going to talk. No, you know he's going to come and he's going to do something. You told him to. I mean, why are you so surprised? Why are you so surprised that he came down and he's doing that? Why? Because, and what is the deal with these U.S. Marshals? All of a sudden the cops are getting beat up by them. I don't know about you, but any time that you physically assault a cop, you go to jail. So it's strange that these U.S. Marshals are coming down here, and they're getting beat up, and all of a sudden they walk away like nothing happened. I mean, come on. To me, the AWF is more entertainment than WWE, because AWF has got the good guys and they got the bad guys. The good guys come out and they wave hands and shake hands and do all that stuff. Then the bad guys come in and they kind of go, kind of push away, like, start saying things like, oh, shut up, or get away from me, or get off of me, or whatever. The only wrestler that I think that actually personifies a good bad guy, well, there's several. One would be Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, when he comes to the ring, he's all upset and mad, and he'll go out and, when they're booing him, he'll just kind of flip his hand over like, oh, whatever, He's your good bad guy, because he's comes down, people boo him, which is he's doing his job, he's being a good bad guy. And then Dolph Ziggler at one time, despite that people cheer him, he's still, trying to be the bad guy, and he's still, he just kind of blows it off a little bit. So he's not, he's a good bad guy, but he's another one that, it's hard, like I said, it's hard to try being a bad guy when people are cheering for you and they're chanting your name and they're, you get pumped up thinking, oh man, this is great. And then you got WrestleMania coming now, of course. WrestleMania will be on, I think, at 4:30 p.m. Show will end about 10:30 p.m. It will be on the WWE Network. If you're going to watch the Hall of Fame, that will be on Friday, April 6th. And I think it will start at about 7 p.m. So, and that will be the WWE Hall of Fame, and that will be, they said it's 2 days before WrestleMania. So, it's always the night before WrestleMania, but now it's 2 days before WrestleMania. So, just to let you know, it will be April 6th at 7 o'clock on the WWE Network. And of course, you can get your free trial, blah, 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 and all that. I had to promote that once in a while, So that's as far as that goes. What else should I talk about on this? So we talk about injuries. And one of the things that I talk about injuries about is I think it's, entertainment is like AWF. Lots of bad guys, lots of good guys. Good guys come shake hands, bad guys come and, they tell them to boo-hoo themselves, they yell and scream a little bit. They don't really, you don't see them having guys getting flipped over on their necks, or you don't see them guys getting gouged blood down their foreheads, and that's the truth, you know. That, you know, you can see that they take a needle or take a blade or take something, and they cut their heads and to get blood to come out. You know, and yeah, okay, you hit him with a chair. That's fine. You know, you can take and hit him with a chair. I'm not saying it's not gonna hurt, but it's a very precise thing. Now you go out, you take something like a bat with blood, you know, with this or that on it. That's a little bit different. You know, when you do things to hurt people, it's, you know, it's awful. You know, and it's not entertainment. One of the things that really got me, I don't know if you heard about it, this is way back when. Brother Love, everybody knows Brother Love. He had the Brother Love show, and he had Undertaker on there, and Ultimate Warrior on there, and he had all kinds of people. He had Paul Bearer on there. Recently, of course, a while back ago, he suffered a stroke. And the good Jerry the King Lawler, the big shot, you know, the guy who thinks he's so cool, says that he doesn't think much about, I don't know what he said or how he said it, something about that he didn't really really was concerned about him having a stroke or having a heart attack. But then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, all of a sudden he's sitting at the thing and he collapses and falls down. And everybody's sending letters and cards and saying how they miss him. And, you know, why is it if somebody else gets a stroke, you know, who cares about it? But if he gets a stroke, all of a sudden everybody's concerned about him. Do you understand all the guy ever did in his career was wrestle some celebrity? Because that's his big feud was some celebrity. You know, Andy Kaufman, you know, if you don't know who Andy Kaufman is, he stars in the show Taxi. He plays, what is it? Vodka, I don't know, I can't pronounce his name. Balky or whatever. Balky was from Perfect Stranger, so I'm saying it's Vodka or something like that, some weird name. But he was a celebrity, and all of a sudden, all he spent his time doing was wrestling Andy Kaufman, Andy Kaufman, Andy Kaufman, Andy Kaufman, Andy Kaufman. He always kept on wrestling Andy Kaufman. I mean, don't you get tired of wrestling the same guy 60 fucking years for that 60 years? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, who cares about Andy Kaufman? I mean, you won the AWA World Heavyweight Championship. Congratulations. Who did you beat? Some nobody, probably, most likely. I mean, I don't follow his career because I didn't really care for the guy. I think he was kind of an idiot. And now he's even worse. I mean, he's 60-some years old saying puppies. I mean, really? I'm going to sit and say puppies, 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 puppies. I mean, come on. What are you going to be 90 years old in a wheelchair saying puppies for the rest of your life? Get a life. Thank God you took him off the air because it's sickening. So now you put this other guy, Corey Graves, in here. This guy, you know, I don't know what's with his hair. I mean, he's got like white hair, you know, and it's just one big splotch of hair on the middle of his head. And I have nothing against the guy personally. I mean, I'm sure the guy's a good guy. But make up your mind. You put him on SmackDown. You put him on Raw. You know, I mean, why do you have the same guy doing it? Can't you get somebody to be on SmackDown and Raw? I mean, you should have somebody, you know, else. I'm not saying, you know, maybe you should get rid of Corey Graves and bring in Booker T. I mean, I know as much as I'm not a big Booker T fan, I'd rather hear him than him. Because he's another one of those guys like Jesse Ventura who sits here and says stupid things. Like, I'm a journalist. Don't you ever remember people like Jesse Ventura saying, I'm a broadcast journalist, big man? I mean, really? Now we know where this comes from. It comes from 1980-something when you got him saying he's a broadcast journalist. You know, I remember days of Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon. Those were actually people. What happened to Mean Gene Okerlund? Why in the world is he not... I mean, he's been part of WrestleMania for years. All of a sudden, he's gone. You know, is he really that much money that you can't afford him to be back there? But you'll get Ronda Rousey, some MMA star to be your big WrestleMania person. I mean, it's ridiculous. I just can't believe all that stuff. What's another match? Oh, Shinsuke Nakamura takes on AJ Styles. Kind of ironic that he goes out and he wins the Royal Rumble, but just kind of ironic that he does that. You know, first time being on there and he wins the Royal Rumble. Gee, big surprise. And he thinks it's going to be a great match, him and AJ Styles. But to be truthful, you know, I think AJ Styles is a better wrestler than Shinsuke Nakamura. You know, they have the mixed match challenge. Maybe instead of the Miz, don't you think it would be better to have Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka teaming together for the first time? Maybe that would be a better match than having the Miz, because the Miz is kind of a, you know, he's a nice guy and everything. Personally, he's a nice guy, but his character, he's kind of an idiot. I mean, he's kind of stupid. He's like, sits here, thinks he's all cool crap, and he's not. And he always gets beat up by everybody who comes down there. He never can announce any guests because he gets interrupted. Might as well just give up while he has a chance. That's ridiculous. So that's why on the story of Asuka. Asuka takes on Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, and this streak, I mean, seriously, you know, of all the wrestlers that come up before, you're telling me every single wrestler can't beat her? Really? It's ridiculous. It's just stupid. I can understand a couple of people. I mean, I can see, you know, her winning, you know, 20 or 30 matches, but every match she's won and she never lost. I mean, come on. Hopefully Charlotte will beat her, because this is getting to be annoying as hell hearing her. But you know what? Like they say, streaks are about to end. Everybody thought the Undertaker was gonna continue his streak, and look what happened to him. Well, Asuka will be the same way. She thinks that she's gonna be able to come in there and be competent and beat her, and that will be the end of it. It don't work that way. You're not wrestling. You're not wrestling some NXT person. You're wrestling a Flair. You're wrestling, you know, a legend. You know, a daughter of a legend. So, you know, she knows the ring inside and out. So, that's as far as I go. Sorry. Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey versus Triple H. I can't even say Triple H. Triple H and Stephanie. That's an interesting match, isn't it? Who do you think is going to win that match? You think Ronda Rousey's going to come and wrestle her first match and lose to them two? Really? Why don't you just let them both win so you guys can get back to your jobs, get in your little chairs, sit in your little suit on, go to your little meetings, because you suck at wrestling. You were cool back in 1980, now it's not 1980 anymore. You might be considered, you know, Triple H may be considered the game, but I think the game's been over 20 years. And Stephanie, let's be honest with you, you're no better either. You may be trained by him, but doesn't mean you're still a good wrestler. The only reason why you won championships is because your husband helped you win them. Get a load of that. So what else? Oh, Nia Jax takes on Alexa Bliss for the women's title for Raw. Seriously? You think Nia Jax is going to lose to somebody, a little shrimp that's like 4 foot tall? You really think she's going to beat him? I mean, the only way she should beat him is if that 1960s porn star, Mickey James, comes out and goes out and does shit. Or stuff, sorry. Stuff. Sorry. I meant to say stuff. She comes out and do stuff. And yes, believe it or not, it's true that she does. She's had a background history of stuff. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to get into it. But they bring her back after 20, 30 years. I mean, come on. There's so many great wrestlers that can be back. You could, like Beth Phoenix, they have her on Boney on. Maybe you should put Beth Phoenix on SmackDown or put her on Raw. Switch, you know, have Graves do one show, that's it. I mean, there's so many great people that could be a great announcer. Hell, hell, if something happens with everything works out the way it is, maybe you should have, until WrestleMania, this last week, maybe you should have Paul Heyman be announcer for Raw. Anybody is better than having him do 2 shows at once. I think it really does upset me and freaks me out a little bit. It really does. But, yeah, the pay-per-view, like I said, there's great matches, there's matches you want to see, matches you don't want to see. People you like, people you don't like. I mean, that's how it is. All the stuff I'm saying is my opinion. I just don't like, just some of these people I just see as ridiculous. And like I said, with Roman Reigns and the Brock Lesnar match, Roman Reigns is so stupid. He comes back, thinks he's Mr. Cool stuff, coming back. He knows dang well if he's really that hurt, why would you go back and go and get beat up again? Why? Yeah, you're gonna go and sit there and do it, but if you're so hurt, you're gonna go out and you're gonna sit here and get beat up again. So you're gonna go back to the same thing you did before. I mean, you're not gonna come out there, after being beat up and just come and start kicking some butt and doing all that stuff. You're gonna get beat up again because it's just good television. Just like with Daniel Bryan. Great effort, but to be truthful to you, you think that somebody with vertical that gets slammed on top of a mat, on the side of a ring mat, you think that would really mess them up bad. You think that would hurt them. I mean, you can't honestly tell me that, you fake being picked up and thrown on top of stuff, and you say, well, it was just the mat. Well, yeah, well, your spine goes sideways or something or gets screwed, you could be paralyzed for a long time. They didn't think that Kane, they didn't think that Tombstone would screw up Daniel Bryan, and it did. I mean, look at how many years he's been out of wrestling because of it. So they're just lucky that everything worked out the way it did, because he could have been really seriously hurt. His vertical could have came on, and nobody would have thought about it. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't believe in this whole, it was just all part of the show. Yeah, sure. I always go and pick people up and throw them across the ring. That's just what I do. I'm just a person who would go out and take a chair and slam it to your back and, just do it, and I understand you can do it carefully, but even if you do it carefully, you can't control, if it's going to hit you and cut you up or do something. I seen, on the last show, I seen a little cut on the abdomen by, who in the hell had it? But if you noticed, you have to watch a show, right here on the side, there was a cut, there's a gash. I don't know who got it, but somebody got it. I don't know if it was Kane or, I don't know. Somebody got a gash on their thing they were wrestling. And then you got, The Undertaker supposedly is going to wrestle John Cena. John Cena should just understand, you don't have a WrestleMania match. He ain't going to come and say, oh gee, I'm going to wrestle you. And if he does come, then this is the reason why he came. You don't come out of retirement just because you like the way your boots fit. You do it because of this, the green. I'll come back and I'll put on my hat, my coat, and everything. Sure, I would do that if you want to throw the bucks out at me. I mean, I know this is entertainment. If you don't like it, don't watch it. I understand that. I'm just saying, I just hate when characters act so stupid. Give me a sign, give me a sign, I need a sign, give me a sign. And then he acts so stupid, Do you understand that, maybe you just should understand you've been to WrestleMania, you've done WrestleManias. Maybe it's time for you to sit as a fan and enjoy the WrestleMania like everybody else. I mean, you want to have a match, fine. Go pick somebody, beat them up, and then there you go. You have your match. But don't sit there and call somebody out that's retired. If he's retired, then what does that tell you? You didn't request a match. You screamed for a match. You're crying because you don't have a match yet, and you're waiting for him to tell you that you have a match or not. And I'm sure the green bucks will be popping like crazy, and pretty soon you'll hear the gong, and you hear the lightning bolts, and you might hear the word yes or something like that. You know something's going to happen this last week before WrestleMania. That made it interesting. Because he can sit there and roll his eyes like an idiot. He can continue to sit up like him like an idiot. He's got to be the most dumbest wrestler in the WWE. I mean, seriously. I mean, he is a great role model, absolutely. Personally, he's probably the greatest guy, nicest guy in the world. But his character is so stupid. It's just absolutely sickening how stupid he is. And that's just, professionally. That's not personally. That's not. I think he's a great role model for kids. I mean, absolutely. But his character needs to be a little bit more understanding. And stop crying to everybody else about, oh, what do I do when I get up? If you do, then you also should understand that to be quiet and just get out and do what you got to do. Wrestle if you got to wrestle. And that's the way that is. So, I'm going to take a little peek and see how far I am. So I'm going to go behind the camera for a minute. So I'm out to 26 minutes, so I'm almost done with the show. So I'm going to say a few things. Get it off my sponsors, Freemake, of course. If you ever want to, get a video converter, a video downloader, you got a album, a thing called Freemake to Boom MP3, YouTube to MP3, which is great. You can get all your great favorite albums, and you can download and make your own CDs, which is pretty cool. And this stuff is 100% free. It's 100% free, safe. There's no problems with it, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you ever do it, just go to freemake.com, just pick whatever software that you like to use. I just found out a new company, I don't know who people use for browsers, but I actually use a new company called Kimono Dragon, Ice Dragon. It's a weird name for a browser, but it's from the makers, I think, of Firefox. And it is a pretty fast browser. It takes just a few seconds takes a little bit to download, but then after you get downloaded, the browser's pretty fast, and it does save all your passwords and keeps everything all organized for you, and it's pretty cool. But it's called, try this again, Kimono Ice Dragon. It's the second best, lightest browser on the internet. Number one, of course, is something called Makita, or something like that. But when I tried it on mine, of course, it didn't work. It kept crashing on me. So the second one is, of course, Kimono Ice Dragon. Maxathon would be number 3. And I looked into my Firefox and Google are not on there. Believe it or not, they are actually pretty heavy programs. So I wanted to put them in there. Is there a new program, new thing I use? Thank you to Mountain Dew, of course, Pepsi Products, Pepsi Company, for being a sponsor. This is stuff that I use. As I don't get paid by this. I just consider them sponsors because they're stuff that I use. So yeah. Also, video imaging. If you know about the Karaoke with Jeff, there's something called Karaoke video imaging. As you can see, I do the show. My web shows, of course, Breakfast with Jeff, and of course Jeff's Journal. Jeff's Journal is on-demand stuff where I go certain places. You kind of follow along with me. The imaging thing is if you happen to have a special event or you have something where you want to capture it on film, that's what this video imaging situation is. So if you ever do want to do something like that, all you have to do is, my Facebook, just go into it. And if you happen to, you're a friend of mine, you can know my email. You can just go ahead and go to my email and send up, or if you do a phone call, whatever, you can make a phone call and or when you send an email, just label it video, and we'll go from there. But yeah, it's something pretty cool. It'd be nice to capture your great moments on film, and it would be pretty cool. And it would be a pretty cool thing. Yeah, I think I'm about almost done finished. I got about 30 minutes on the video. I'm sorry I keep jumping up and down, but I want to check. What happened was when I did the video before, I was using a box, a recorder. Unfortunately, I was not able to get any of my video files off it. So I'm using my camera so that I don't have to get up and check each back and forth. So I'm gonna go check it here now, see how close I am. I'm on 30 minutes, so I'm gonna sit down real quick. So I'm just over my time, but I'm gonna say to all the people that watch the videos, thank you so much for that. If you're a new viewer, thank you as well for joining and being a part of this. And if you want to know, the name of this one will be called Breakfast with Jeff WWE 2. And don't forget, WrestleMania is on April 8th. The Hall of Fame show is on April 6th at 7 o'clock on the WWE Network. And I believe WrestleMania will start at 4:30. If not 4:30, 5:30, somewhere in there, 4:30, 5:30. And it'll be happening, of course, and it'll be on the WWE Network. And if you don't have it, it's $9.99 a month. And you get a free trial automatic, so you'll get WrestleMania for free when you sign up right away. So, this is Breakfast with Jeff, WWE 2. I want to say thank you to all of my viewers and the people that do watch. Thank you to the people that are new that are watching. Thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see you next time for another edition of Breakfast with Jeff. Until then, so long.